The Prince of Darkness has sung his last song, and he had one final message for his many devoted followers. On July 22, 2025, the legendary rock star Ozzy Osbourne passed away, just over 2 weeks after staging his epic Back to the Beginning concert in Birmingham, England.
Rock and roll!
Black Sabbath had formed in Birmingham all the way back in 1969, so it was a fitting location for Ozzy's final concert, which had been planned as his farewell gig even before his death. Back to the Beginning also marked Osbourne's first time playing his hometown in 2 decades, and an exceptionally rare performance by the original 4-member lineup of Black Sabbath. The concert was suitably epic, a 10-hour extravaganza at the 40,000-capacity Villa Park Stadium in Ozzy's home city of Birmingham, UK, with bands performing short sets on a rotating stage. Titled Back to the Beginning, the show boasted the cream of hard rock and metal, from Rival Sons and Anthrax early on to Slayer, Guns N' Roses, and Metallica just before Ozzy's grand entrance.
It's time to go back to the beginning.
Within minutes of Metallica rounding off their set with their iconic Master of Puppets, the stage was set for the arrival of the Prince of Darkness himself. Ozzy arrived on the stage on an extravagant black throne decorated with bats and skulls. "Let me hear you," Ozzy commanded the crowd before adding, "Let the madness begin." He then launched into his first solo song, I Don't Know, which was met by screams from the crowd. Even Ozzy was rocking in his chair. From there, he told the crowd, "It's so good to be on this f***ing stage, you have no idea. Have you had a good day today?" By this point, attendees in the stands had already been on their feet and rocking to the best in the business for more than 8 hours, a feat of endurance that can only be described as truly metal. Ozzy soon rolled back the years with powerful versions of Mr. Crawley and Suicide Solution, before referencing respiratory infections that ended his 2019 farewell tour, along with his battles with Parkinson's disease and spinal injuries. He told the crowd, "I've been laid up for 6 years. You've got no idea how I feel." He then slowed the pace with Mama, I'm Coming Home. Delivered with Ozzy's voice cracking and tears from many in the audience, the song's emotional lyrics, which reflect on change and returning home, created perhaps the most poignant moment of the night. Ozzy rounded out his solo set with a rousing version of Crazy Train before thanking the audience and taking a short break. But the true highlight of the night was a moment that was years in the making, the final appearance of Black Sabbath. The large screens broadcast footage of Black Sabbath in their heyday, including news clips demonstrating the outrage the band caused in the media when they first appeared in the late 1960s. Then the stadium darkened with a wailing siren announcing the band was due to arrive. And so began the final set of metal's great originators, with Ozzy joined on stage by original Sabbath members Tony Iommi on guitar, Geezer Butler on bass, and Bill Ward on drums. Sabbath opened their 4-song set with the irresistibly headbanging War Pigs, as Ozzy's every word was echoed by the crowd, who sang along to Iommi's iconic closing riff. Then came NIB, which opened with Butler's exceptionally dynamic bass solo, proving he's lost little of his dexterity on the fretboard. By this time, Ozzy, whose voice was a little weak in his solo set, was at full power and unmistakable in his powerful delivery. He maintained that vocal strength for Iron Man, the heavy stomp of which had the crowd nodding in unison. Ozzy then told the crowd, "Unfortunately, we've come to our last song ever." He then thanked everyone in attendance for their support over the years. Of course, there was only one song that could round out such a momentous day, the hard rock classic Paranoid. When Ozzy introduced the song, he told the crowd, "Go f***ing crazy." But Osbourne's final statement to his fans and to the world was delivered in written form on the gigantic screens at the stadium. A mix of Osbourne's unique blend of heartfelt sentiment and profanity, it read, "Thank you for everything. You guys are amazing. Birmingham forever." It was a touching message from a true icon. A controversial figure throughout his life, Ozzy Osbourne virtually invented and certainly popularized the heavy metal genre. During his time as frontman for Black Sabbath in the 1970s and his solo career after that, the Prince of Darkness brought the sinister and frightening into the light on his loud, heavy, and low-end focused hits. But he also became renowned for the many crazy stunts he pulled during his rock and roll days, from getting blind drunk at the White House to biting the head off a bat to snorting a line of ants in front of a stunned motley crew. Years later, Ozzy experienced the least likely career pivot in entertainment history, becoming a warm and fuzzy family man on his MTV reality sitcom The Osbournes.
Oh, come on, Sharon. I'm Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness.
As he grew older, however, Ozzy was forced to reckon with some serious health issues. After sustaining a serious fall in 2019 and then revealing publicly that he had received a diagnosis of the progressive neurological condition Parkinson's disease in 2020, he virtually stopped performing live, citing nerve pain, numbness, and difficulty walking. Then, in 2025, Black Sabbath announced that the band's original lineup would reunite one last time for what would amount to Osbourne's final concert. That show, of course, was Back to the Beginning. And while Osbourne's last words from the stage would prove particularly bittersweet for fans in light of later events, there's no denying that his message, and the show itself, was the perfect ending to one of rock music's most remarkable careers.
The Prince of Darkness has passed away, and social media is lighting up with reactions from the world of hard rock and beyond. Let's just say the term beloved is hardly adequate when it comes to Ozzy Osbourne. The loss of Ozzy Osbourne stunned the metal community. Kiss bassist and co-frontman Gene Simmons pointed to the authenticity the icon displayed throughout his life, saying,
"He was always really just Ozzy, and with no excuses."
The official Metallica X account posted an 80s-era photo of the band backstage with Osbourne, captioned with a single broken heart emoji. Scott Ian of Anthrax, who participated in Osbourne's farewell concert, wrote on Instagram, "Peace, love, and gratitude to one of the giants, one of the actual architects of the genre, one of the originals, the King. We were with him in Birmingham just over a week ago talking about how incredible Back to the Beginning was. This heartbreaking shared experience is palpable." Rage Against the Machine's Tom Morello, another Back to the Beginning participant, kept it simple in his own Instagram post, writing, "God bless you, Ozzy." Elsewhere, David Draymond of Disturbed took to X to call him a dear teacher and father to us all. Meanwhile, iconic metal band Judas Priest said in a joint statement to The Hollywood Reporter, "Our hearts are broken like millions around the world. Your music is eternal." Alice Cooper also spoke to the outlet, calling Osbourne, quote, "a cross between the Prince of Darkness and the court jester, who will continue to be a rock and roll legend." Of course, there was a lot of respect and affection for him outside of his immediate sphere of fellow metalheads. Superstar Elton John posted on Instagram, "So sad to hear the news of Ozzy Osbourne passing away. He was a dear friend and a huge trailblazer who secured his place in the pantheon of rock gods. A true legend. He was also one of the funniest people I've ever met. I will miss him dearly." Ronnie Wood, guitarist for bands like The Faces and the Rolling Stones, wrote on X, "I am so very sad to hear of the death of Ozzy Osbourne. What a lovely goodbye concert he had at Back to the Beginning in Birmingham." Wood's bandmate in The Faces, Sir Rod Stewart, also somberly bid farewell to his cohort. He wrote on Instagram, "Bye-bye, Ozzy. Sleep well, my friend. I'll see you up there. Later rather than sooner." The guitar-based alternative rock that broke out big in the 80s and 90s owed a lot to Ozzy's pioneering efforts in heavy metal, so it's not surprising that many of that genre's luminaries shared their devastation over his death. Pearl Jam's Mike McCready wrote on X, "It was Ozzy's voice that took me away to a dark universe. Thanks for the music, Ozzy. It makes our journey in life better." Fellow Birmingham-based musicians Duran Duran also paid tribute on Instagram, saying that it's, quote, "hard to imagine a world without the frontman, who brought so much joy, humor, and raw power to the world." Singer-songwriter Ryan Adams echoed these sentiments on Instagram, writing, "It's hard to wake up on tour in a world without an Ozzy." Green Day frontman Billy Joe Armstrong was more succinct, writing on the same platform, "No words. We love you, Ozzy." One of the predominant popular musical forms of the 1980s was melodic heavy metal, which was suitable for the radio and MTV. Ozzy's most successful solo years overlapped with the decade, and his popularity led to other similar acts finding fame, including Twisted Sister. Frontman Dee Snider wrote on X, "Farewell, Ozzy Osbourne. You and your bands changed my life. Thank you for the ride." Billy Idol also walked the path that Osbourne carved out, and he was a longtime fan and associate. He recalled on Instagram, "I saw Black Sabbath 1 month before the first album came out at Worthing Town Hall in 1968. I was right at the front and his tassels were touching me. Ozzy embodied the spirit of rock and roll, and he performed right to the end as we all saw." Idol's songwriting partner and guitarist, Steve Stevens, counted Osbourne as a friend. He wrote, "Honestly, no words can describe what an honor it was to spend time with Ozzy. He was larger than life, but yet warm and incredibly funny." Questlove, band leader of The Roots and music documentarian, declared "Long live the Oz" on his Instagram page. Flavor Flav, a fellow reality TV star and the hype man in the 80s hip-hop collective Public Enemy, wrote on X, "Man, real heartbroken over the passing of Ozzy Osbourne. We go way back, and it was a real honor to watch him get inducted into the Rock Hall last year. Sending my love and prayers to Sharon and the kids and whole family." English by birth, Ozzy lived in California for much of the last couple decades of his life. As such, the state's governor, Gavin Newsom, recognized the musician's contributions and qualities upon his death. He wrote on X, Ozzy Osbourne was a man of multitudes, larger than life, yet honestly human. From California's stages to global influence, his impact is undeniable. His legacy will live on through his music, his fans, and his family. No celebrity was more ironically aligned with the satanic than Ozzy Osbourne, the so-called Prince of Darkness. So when Adam Sandler made his 2000 demon comedy Little Nicky, he unsurprisingly cast Ozzy Osbourne as himself, who recreated the notorious moment he bit the head off a bat.
No, 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 no!
You can do it, Ozzy! Bite his freaking head off!
No!
Perhaps nobody spoke to what Osbourne meant to the masses of metalhead teenagers of the 1970s and 1980s more than Sandler, who remembered the singer in an Instagram post. He wrote, "Nobody was more badass to crank up on our speakers than the one and only Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. Loved him a lot like we all did. Sending love to the family and so happy to have spent time with the legend himself." Osbourne turned in another cameo as himself in another supernatural comedy, the 2016 franchise reboot of Ghostbusters.
Wankers, Black Sabbath did that shit in 74.
The director of the film, Paul Feig, wrote on X, "So very sad to hear about Ozzy's passing. I will always cherish the time I spent with him on Ghostbusters. He was such a sweet guy and so up for having fun with his persona. He was a true legend and the music world wouldn't have been the same without him." Ozzy married his manager, the former Sharon Arden, in 1982.
He is the most romantic man I've ever met in my life.
Together, they raised 3 children, Amy, Kelly, and Jack. His death in July 2025 was announced to the world via a statement from the singer's family. It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. Ozzy was part of another family of sorts, Black Sabbath. He sang with the Aston Birmingham heavy metal band throughout the 1970s and then occasionally as the years went on, including at a farewell concert just weeks before he died. After the news of Osbourne's death broke, the band's guitarist, Tony Iommi, wrote on X, "I just can't believe it. My dear, dear friend Ozzy has passed away only weeks after our show at Villa Park. It's just such heartbreaking news that I can't really find the words. There won't ever be another like him. Geezer, Bill, and myself have lost our brother." Bassist Geezer Butler also weighed in on Instagram, writing, "Goodbye, dear friend. Thanks for all those years. We had some great fun. 4 kids from Aston. Who'd have thought, eh? Love you."